Welcome to Global View. Today we have a powerhouse in entertainment, politics, and activism. A friend as well. Welcome, Joy Villa. Joy, you don't need introduction and presentation, but let me tell everyone your incredible career in the music industry, in cinema industry, but also you achieved to become a fashion icon of the entire MAGA movement. And I want to say something because I know you for a long while now, and you
Yes.
were bold, uh, flaunting this wonderful MAGA dress in a specific moment a few years ago, where outing yourself as an America First patriot was going to jeopardize your career, your relationship, your connection. So, my very first question, first and foremost, welcome to the show. And first question
Thank
is,
you.
did this affect your career in any way at the time?
Yes. Well, it's so good to be here on Global View. I love you guys. Yes, we've known each other a long time. And yeah, for your listeners and viewers, it's just awesome. It did affect my career. I lost a lot of money because I had certain gigs that were going to be lined up and they dropped me right away when I first came out for Trump. But I also didn't care because I was an independent artist. I'm still an independent artist, no record label, which I'm so happy about. John Rich, who's also an independent artist, he's like, I'm glad I don't have a record label because they would have dropped him. He's a conservative country artist and he's on Fox all the time. He's a friend of mine. I'm on Fox. Like when you do these kind of things, you for sure know you're going to be controversial, but that wasn't the intention. It really was to stand up for truth, to stand up for American exceptionalism, to stand up for what I believe was real because it is real. Like Trump is president. Trump was president 8 years ago, and I thought, okay, the hate's going to die down once he gets elected. Okay, during an election, it's normal, right? Go back to 2016. I was like, this is a crazy election cycle, but it's election. Once he's president, the liberals will die down, and it's going to be normal. It intensified. And when Madonna got up there with her pussy hat and was like, people, if they can go back and remember the tragedy of what the liberals started, they're only worse now. But, um, Madonna was like, yeah, with her pussy hat and all this stuff, she was being crazy. And I thought, well, if Madonna can do that, I can wear a Trump dress to the Grammys and no one's going to stop me. And of course, I got death threats, I got hate, I still get hate, I still have death threats, rape threats, tons of attacks, um, racist remarks. Those are always interesting from the loving left with rainbow flags in their profile picture.
I got the same. Go back to whatever country you come from. We got used to that. Their sweet words and their double
Yeah.
standards.
Yep, exactly. So it was nuts, but I also gained so many friends and supporters and followers that I didn't even know existed because I was in that tight bubble in Los Angeles, as you know.
I
It's
know. Yeah.
hard to be conservative. You can't wear a Trump hat, walk around Trump shirt. I have friends who got beat up for doing that. I was at Hollywood Boulevard and this guy started yelling at me and my friends. We were wearing Trump hats. Like it was back in the day, 8 years ago. People don't understand how violent it was. Now
Yeah.
they're still nasty, but we remember, the three of us here, how violent the left had become against Trump supporters of every race, national, creed, religion. Like they didn't care. If you're a Trump supporter, you're a Nazi. And that makes it okay to hurt you, drop you for gigs, blacklist you. I was blacklisted from LA Fashion Week after walking it for years as a model. Like just
Well,
crazy,
let me
crazy.
interrupt you on this point. You were my model as well at some point. You
I
remember
was.
Agape by
Yes.
Simona?
In your
Yes,
bathing
well,
suit
bathing
line, your
suits line.
fabulous
So,
bikini
yeah,
line.
you wore it amazingly beautiful.
Thank
And,
you.
we all remind this dark era, right, of America.
Hmm.
And as you
Hmm.
said, it's real. It takes a lot of courage to actually stand for
Yeah.
your values and not only stand for your values in La La Land, but also
Yes.
becoming a vocal activist and making a name for yourself as a political commentator.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean it's worth it. I would I never regretted what I did and I would never go back to, putting Pandora back in the box. It's all right. I'm unleashed.
Mhm.
And I love it.
I think people are happy that you are unleashed. You know, we've had some other guests on the show talking about the golden age of Hollywood, the golden age of entertainment. We've had some other entertainers on, political figures, and you are one that really mixes both in such an incredibly unique way. So I think you have some unique insights into the question I'm about to ask you.
Mm,
Why do you think artists in general have allowed politics of basically one spectrum to pervade and to be so intertwined in their industry and affect their creativity, their product, and
mm.
what they deliver to the American public? I'm not an artist, but I appreciate good music. I appreciate good film. I just want to listen to music. I just want to watch a film. I want to enjoy the art. I don't want to hear a political message. To be honest with you, even regardless of the political message, I don't think it's the point. So why has politics become so intertwined in art in America today?
Well, I think today it's because we have to sort of stand up for what we believe in that regard. But before it never was. I
Mm-hmm.
remember, when it was you could just listen to the art and you didn't care about the artist's political
Mm-hmm.
standpoint.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, because the left has infiltrated Hollywood and this was their plan, there's a lot of anti-God messages. They hate Jesus, they hate God, they hate families, they hate normalcy, they hate all that we love as conservatives. So they put that within their music, and they put that within. You can see the degradation, you can see the outright like satanic
Mm-hmm.
music and stuff. It's gotten so blatant. But you look at the 90s, nobody would dare to say that. Nobody would dare to show that. You'd get blacklisted because they'd be like, well, some people are still Christians, some people are still conservatives. Let's keep it like okay. Michael Jordan famously said Republicans buy sneakers too. Like, why would you alienate? But then something's shifted. And I think that's because I personally believe Jesus Christ is coming back soon. And I do think that we're in end times. I also believe that the left had to go so far left in order to keep people from straying away. It's power, it's domination, it's control, it's greed. And so it's like, okay, we own you, certain artists, and we want you to preach our gospel, and we're all leftists and liberals, so you're going to be political. I mean, this isn't the artist's actual mind. This isn't their thinking. They don't actually believe what they're saying, right? They
Mm-hmm.
don't, because if they could think for themselves, they wouldn't be in that spot. They're getting paid not to think for themselves. They get paid to say this rhetoric. They get paid to go, $2 million and say three things at, Kamala Harris's events, right? As we saw Beyonce, and then leave the stage. They're gone. Nobody's home. So when we say like why is music so political, and someone might say, well, it's because the artists are political. No, it's because the powers that be that control them, the record labels, the record execs, the bankers, the politicians that paid to have their message endorsed by these artists, those are the people who are controlling the message. And it's really great for these politicians to have, so and so shake her butt on stage and then tout Obama or tout whoever the flavor of the year is, and it's not the artist. So it's gone very that's my viewpoint. That's what I've seen being in the industry, is because when I talk to the actual artists, they don't even know what they're talking about. They don't hold strong political opinions. They don't engage with me on these topics. They go blank. They
Mm-hmm.
read the teleprompter. Nike told them to say this and to take a knee and do this because it's trending. So
Yeah.
you have these robotic artists under influence. And if there's any artists watching this who are under that influence, break away, think for yourself. You don't even have to be political. I chose to be political because they kept trying to stop me, because it's
Yeah.
like I'm enemy number one to be conservative and to say, Trump, I like what Trump is doing. It's like, what? So yeah, that's the big thing. I would have said 10 years ago, I don't know. It's weird. I know too much now, and it is definitely planned. It was planned in the education system,
Mm-hmm.
Zelensky's rules. They plan this. They plan to take God out of schools. They plan to put, mother government to be the one that's gonna take care of people, right? It's like take away God, take away freedom, take away people's right to be who they are and to choose what they truly want, and then tell them that the Republicans are doing that. Tell them that, actual true freedom is no God and no rules. Lie to them, twist them up, and then offer them a big fat check, and you can control whatever they say, whether in their music or on the red carpet.
Just a really quick follow-up. I remember as a young boy, I would look at famous athletes, famous actors, and I was really had an impression, like what they said really
Mm,
mattered to them. But I was a young boy before
I know.
I
That's
became
such
an
a shame.
adult or actually started thinking a little outside the box and had to pay my own bills and take care of my family and be an adult. The moment you become an adult in society, I think people need to be educated about the agendas behind these people, because at
Absolutely.
the end of the day, if they're out there pushing these various agendas and interests that don't really represent the will of the people, don't really represent the interests of the American family, let's say mainstream America. I think it's very important that people to understand that, and I don't think many do. So thanks for explaining that.
Absolutely. I admire you guys because you've been out there for a long time too, for years against all kinds of matter of hate and misinformation and attacks and slurs. And people don't realize once you unplug from this matrix, you will get
Mhm.
heavily attacked, but then you'll have that peace of knowing, well, I'm no longer like these people who are brainwashed because brainwashing.
It totally, I so much relate to what you're saying when you talk about arts and how much creativity this agenda took away from artistic products. If you have to sing a song that have to say certain lyrics, I don't know, talk about woke agenda or trying to
Mhm,
force into society their own idea of what society should be. I just
mhm.
remember, being free to include every personal choice without force it by the government. But also, I noticed that they achieved to monopolize entertainment. They
Yeah.
mastered that. So, what do you think Republican Party and Republicans in general miss to that
Mm.
allowed this to happen? What's wrong on our side that we didn't get to
That's a
this?
great question. I used to be like, what is wrong with our
Yeah,
side?
exactly. What's wrong?
Yeah.
And I'm not even like a hard stand
Mhm.
for Republicans. I think Republicans, there's so many rhinos, Republican name
Oh,
only, and I don't like the hard right, I don't like the hard left. I'm somewhere in the middle. I'm conservative.
mhm,
Um, but you can see how the Republicans attacked Trump when he tried to run before too. And it's like all these people are confused. Well, what's wrong is I would say, okay, first the left co-opted things like multiculturalism, right?
Mm.
And I still stand behind, I think multi-ethnic, multicultural is good, not in the way the terms of the left. And conservatives don't like me for saying this, but I'm a multi-ethnic person. I'm Latina, I'm Black, I'm Italian, right?
exactly.
Like,
We
so
know.
I can't, yeah, I think intermixing is fantastic. And I think we
Absolutely.
cultures are amazing, right? Like find out, learn more. It's not globalism to go travel overseas and want to learn other cultures. So I think unfortunately you're dealing with I hate to say it, but a dumb portion of Americans who think anything that doesn't look exactly like the 7-Eleven in front of them is bad, right? The thing that they're used to, the market up the street, the people up the street, there's this ignorance and the left has played on that ignorance. And the left knew what they were doing. They're like, okay, let's educate and brainwash people the way we want. Why didn't Republicans get into the colleges and the universities? Why did we stay out of that? Oh, because so
Exactly.
many Republicans were like, oh no, we'll just homeschool, which I believe in homeschooling.
Mhm.
Absolutely. But it's now a necessity because the actual schools are so messed up. But why didn't we get in there? Why didn't more Republicans run for office in these big cities and start getting on the government boards and getting on the educational boards? I mean, this started in the 60s and 70s, right? Black family was alive and well in the 60s. It was the Black husband, the Black mom. It was beautiful. It was like pushing this beautiful idea. It was
Yeah,
like the Black Christian and all American family. And then the left got in there with crack cocaine, liquor stores on every corner, and cutting Black businesses away, buying the Black business, breaking it up. So the Democrats did that to the Black people. But why didn't Republicans come in and educate and say, hey, as a Black Republican, here's this and this, and Martin Luther King Jr. was a Black Republican, and this. Nobody did anything to the Black community. So guess what? The left came in, swooped in, and started doing their thing, their dirty dealings, and
yeah,
putting in abortion clinics on every corner. So now we have more Black babies being aborted than being born. It's like, well, why didn't the Republicans do more? And I do say it's we have blood on our hands for that.
we
All the
do.
Republicans who didn't step in, and I look at it and I'm like, if we don't start getting more Black Republicans up there, Latino Republicans up there, female Republicans, if we don't start opening, foreign whatever, if we don't open our floodgates to the message over what they look like, we're going to still stay in the same rut. Because I think it was like this perfect Christian conservative, and not everybody's like that who voted for Trump. So Trump broke out of that, right? He's a
Mhm.
loudmouth. He's a New Yorker. He was on TV. He's got, a different look than other people. And they love to say, oh, he's a billionaire. No, he was the outsider. He does
He
not look
was.
like it or sound like the
Uh,
typical Republican.
Absolutely
And
not. That's why we
thank
like him.
God. That's why, exactly. That's why we like him. We're not the typical
No,
That's
Republican.
true.
We're wild
absolutely.
people. So it's supposed
Exactly.
to be conservative as punk rock. It's supposed to be the outliers, the cool, the freedom fighters. So we should have gay Republicans up there. We should have all different types of people. And on the fringe we do, but you don't really see that represented. And that's a problem. And I think it's a problem because the Republican Party is not playing by the same rules as the liberals, and the liberals know about PR, they know about marketing. Imagine if Coca-Cola went political. That's what the liberals
Mm,
are. They have all this money, all this backing, and they do campaigns that are slick and sexy and cool, and they use celebrities. And I'm not saying that's the way to change morals, but why didn't we campaign better until Trump got in? I've never seen one Republican have a campaign that ever touched my heart. Like, did you guys? You were ever like,
you
these
know,
are my people.
to be honest with you, they are pretty stiff. And as you said, they are just this image, which is a cliche that I think people like you, people like us, don't even identify with. The Republicans are brilliant entrepreneurs, artists. We have any kind of
Yes,
Republican, a conservative, I would say,
yes.
over there. So why don't we take this out? Why don't
Mhm.
we show that this entertainment industry is not your industry? It's industry of us
Amen.
all. If you're a good actor, if you're a good singer, if you're a good great
Hmm.
model like you are, I mean, of course, I want you to post for Agave Basimona, but it should be on Gucci and Missy
Yes,
than anything else. You know,
yes.
that's the point. I don't like the idea of creating identity industries. Like I don't
I
want a
agree.
conservative industry and liberal industry. We should just wrap
Just have
through this wall,
industry.
like with the nice
Yes.
people there, right?
And that's the thing. I'm like, okay, I love it that people are like, well, why don't we make conservative minded this? And I'm not going to shout it out, but there's some conservative magazines, like some women's magazines that have come
Mm,
up on my feed. I follow, and I'm like, this is awesome. How come I just see the same looking girl on the cover all the time? A woman in a prairie dress who's like white bread with like dark blonde hair and flowers, and it's like, oh, and I'm like, Republicans don't look like that. We're
no.
wild looking. We're different. Throw a tattooed rocker up there. Throw some people up there. I mean, I don't know. It's not just about image, and people can say, oh, but image does matter. That's representation.
Mm,
Representation matters. Like you said, I want to see people. I want to see all the people I grew up loving were like in rock bands and like they were like alternative, different. But that world is all now taken over by this darkness and this liberal policies. But I still want to be able to create, like you said, like we should be able to have cool action movies, not just
mm,
the same sad, soggy films that we see on the conservative Christian side. No, we should have
mm,
awesome action movies, like you said, that don't have political messages. Also,
Mhm.
why don't we just say, let's stop talking politics?
Yeah.
Let's just have good guys
exactly.
and bad guys. Let's just have a great movie, a great song.
Exactly. A beautiful
I'm down for that.
horror movie where everybody
Yeah.
is in danger. Republicans, conservative,
Yes. Oh,
liberals.
that would be
Just like
great.
it would be great. I mean, they're dividing society so much that people
Yeah.
are even afraid to say, I believe in this politics on that politics. I mean, it's just like insane.
It's money, it's greed, it's control. If you divide men versus women, black versus white, gay versus straight, Muslim versus Christian, conservative versus liberal, like if you put those, it creates all this dissension, and people make money on that.
Mhm.
Mm,
People can then control that because now you're in fear, right?
I think based on what you said about Donald Trump, because he was so in the media and such a rock star in so many different ways, and just
Hmm.
like besides being a billionaire, he was all over the tabloids. He's a New Yorker. He had an
Yeah.
aura. He had The Apprentice. He had so I really think this is a unique opportunity for conservatism, MAGA, America First, to have a rock star president like that and to allow the culture from the top down to be affected in the United States. So
Yes.
how can we leverage President Trump's aura to do exactly what you're talking about here, to basically take a share of what the liberal monopoly has done to both media entertainment and music. Because at the end of the day, I think the majority of Americans are center right. I think conservatives have a lot of money. They have a lot of purchasing power. They're a massive audience. I mean, that's why so many of these woke shows at from the Golden Globes, what's going on with the NBA, various sports, the ratings are so down because they're pushing
Tanked.
these things that don't represent the average American. So how the question I have is how do we leverage President Trump's rock star aura to do what you're talking about here in a practical sense?
I love that question. I love that. Yes, rock star aura.
Yeah,
Exactly. He's got aura, right? It's
Yes.
right.
I think the way to do that is to create our own things like you guys are
Mm,
doing. You have your show here, right? I have my music. I have my live show every Wednesday, 6 p.m. Eastern on my YouTube, which you guys can check out. And,
Of
and it's
course.
live. And I talk to people and I hear from people, and it's you have to create your own kind of like culture within yourself, like what do you want to do, and then push that out on all mediums, all platforms. That's what I think. Everybody should have a podcast. Everybody should get into that, especially if you're a business person. If you want to stay out of the spotlight, great, do you, boo. But if you want to create and you want to make money and you want to have a life, like as a Republican, we're business people, we're entrepreneurs. Almost every entrepreneur, I travel around the world and I meet entrepreneurials. I'm in the entrepreneurs. I'm in the crypto scene. I'm in the business scene. They're all conservative. They all love Trump. They all, like you say, rock star aura. Oh, he's funny. They
yeah.
love that. So getting more into this rather than seeing, because on the flip side, yes, the left owns Hollywood, but it's also crumbling. The traditional Hollywood, the traditional movie making, we have YouTube now. If you're a
Exactly.
filmmaker, make a movie and put it on
Mhm.
YouTube.
Why not?
Oh, but it'll cost. So what? Do it. You're gonna put
I
your money
love it.
somewhere, like don't buy beer for a couple months. Don't go get your nails done for a couple months. Like put that money towards a project and create it. And don't be so afraid that, oh, it has to be perfect, because there's never been a better time to self-produce and self-create. Your fashion line, put that out there. Everybody put it out there. And don't
Mhm.
wait for someone to give you permission. If you're waiting for you to get permission, here's your sign. I give you permission. You can create.
I love that. Joy, I have to ask you that because you're such a great energy. You have such a charisma. Have you ever thought to descend in the political arena?
Oh my gosh. I almost ran for Congress in Miami actually. And I was approached and we started the congressional, like the beginning stage. You have to raise 5,000 and we raised it like that from
Okay.
donations. It was going to be for Congress. I almost ran for Congress. I was on Fox and Friends, and then they're like, "Would you ever want to be president?" I'm like, "Whew." First of all, my first initial reaction is like, ugh, politics. No, I'm an artist. I'm a creative. I'm a woman of the people. I like to create. I like to talk to people. But then I think if the same thing Trump said, like if we really if the call was there, if I was really needed, because I know I speak authentically, and I think I just I have a desire to help and a desire to encourage others to do things and to feel good. And it's not even about left versus right, because I want liberals to also get this message. Yeah, create. You don't like something, create, right? Don't just buy the same stuff other people are. I think we should have a freedom, a place for everyone to create. I don't believe in Republican supremacy. But I do believe we have to go back to the old fashioned morals and values that built America up, because liberals enjoyed that too. I mean, that's a campaign right there. I know. I don't know. It'd have to be God's calling. God would have to be like, Joy, you're running for office. And it would have to be like lightning struck for me to do it, because it's just a nasty world. It's just so nasty. And I would never want to do it for the wrong reasons.
Fair.
God gave you that thought. God probably also gave you the thought to wear this incredible dress that made you go viral at at one of these. I think it was a Grammys, right? But I'm not. Was it
Yeah,
exactly?
yeah,
It was at the Grammys. Tell
yeah.
us what went into the process of wearing the dress. Who made it, and what was the aftermath from you actually going so blatantly, openly MAGA at such a liberal celebration, I guess, if you want to call it that.
Yes. The Grammys this year tanked, by the way. The views tanked for this year. Again, they always tank, right? Like you were saying, it's always okay, so this is my eighth, I think it was my seventh Grammys I did this year. and I wore a MAGA hat that said the hat stays on. And every look, my first look was designed by Andre Soriano, who's a gay Filipino immigrant and Trump supporter, Catholic, right? Again, another typical
Exactly.
Republican.
Yeah.
Your typical straight white male in a suit, like from
Just
Mill
let's
America.
We adore Andre.
we love him. And let's put
Yes,
things in
Andre's
perspective.
amazing.
Like me from
Yes,
Italy with his accent. I'm also
I
a straight conservative, American patriot, finally.
exactly. It's awesome. It's so great because it's like they can't put us in a box. They really
No,
can't. I think that makes them mad too because we're always smiling and happy and they're always like mean and mad. So
aggressive.
Andre designed almost all my dresses and then a few of my dresses I designed and then I also worked with another designer. So, but the first dress that everyone has seen was by
Hmm.
Andre Soriano. That came about. I had done 2 Grammys beforehand and with my music because I'm a Grammy considered artist and I hit #1 on Billboard, which that's my Billboard plaque back there. You can't quite see because the haters love to be
Okay.
like she's lying. Trump supporters constantly
No,
lie, but
show
like
it to
yeah,
everybody
I
right now.
so the haters. Hold on, let's
Beautiful.
see. There it is.
There it
Okay,
is.
and
Yes, wow.
yes, it says Billboard
Congratulations.
number
Yes.
one. Thank you.
From a
I think I
conservative. Wow.
Yes, exactly. And with a 4-year-old album. My album was 4 years old by the time I
Wow.
hit that Grammys, and it hit #1 on Billboard, iTunes, and Amazon. I beat out Red Hot Chili Peppers and
Congratulations.
rock and roll. It's
Wow.
#1 in alternative, #1 in rock, alternative top rock albums, #1 alternative albums, and Billboard in the Billboard 200, which is all albums
Wow.
overall. For that week, I hit number 12. Yeah, number 12. It's crazy.
Congratulations.
Like
Amazing.
Taylor Swift hit #1, and then it was
Uh,
the, your typical Beyonce #2 or whatever.
Hmm.
But as an unknown independent conservative artist, so that was
this
huge. And
real
that,
power. Real power.
thank you.
And,
Thank you.
and
Yeah. And I
it
give them
talks
more
about the
Yes.
shot.
market, and it talks about the market and the power of the conservative people in the United States. They have the numbers, so that's really amazing.
Yeah, we really do. We have more power than we think,
Yeah.
and we're conditioned and brainwashed to think we don't. And of course, there's been real consequences for speaking up. I can't, it's social media and stuff. That's why I'm always like, I fly by the radar on social media because not really. I say whatever I want, but I don't. I make sure not to attack or name call. That's also not my brand. I don't
No.
care what liberals are doing.
Yeah.
I'm like Joy Tribe. You follow me, you can be liberal, you can be whatever you want. Just respect me, I'll respect you. As soon as you
Yes.
get disrespectful, you're getting blocked, right? But I have my assistant, she's like, should I start deleting some of these negative comments? I said, no. Leave them there. Let people see. I mean, because they get really bad, really racist. So
I
the
know.
first dress, and then I came out as pro-life. I just kept doing it because every message, every point was made, and I was able to talk about the values. And people would say, "Well, what do you say to people who say you just did this for attention?" And I would say, "You're right. I did do it for attention.
You're deserving
Duh,
them, deserving
I'm on
them.
the red carpet. What else do I want? Don't look at me? No,
Exactly.
everybody. What do you think, Kanye West
I
and
like that.
Taylor
I'm
Swift want?
hiding. I
Yeah.
love that.
Oh, I showed up on the red carpet for no attention. No, of course I
Exactly.
want attention. So I just want the
That's the way
attention
to
to be
go.
on the message. And this year I talked about Jesus on the red carpet. I've gone through a very big conversion. Was raised Christian, but it's just
Oh,
become very personal for me. I went through 2 years of depression during COVID. I
oh,
think we all had
oh.
psychotic breaks
Okay.
during that
I'm
time,
sorry
right?
to hear that. Yeah,
Thank
everybody.
you.
What would you say
Well,
to people that are going through a dark moment in their life, which happens to everyone? How
oh,
would you, because you're so
yeah.
inspiring, and what's your message
Hmm.
for everyone who's facing some sort of
Well, I
down?
would say, first of all, put the bottle down. Don't drink. Don't do drugs. That's not going to get the problem away. Don't go back to the ex. Don't do any of these toxic things you know are toxic. Um, Sit down and reflect what's going on. Journal, write down, and then start to find out what you really want because God uses these moments for deep reflection. A lot of times the depression happens because God wants us to draw near to Him. He wants to draw near to us, but we have to draw near to him. God is a gentleman. You have to invite him in. So sometimes the only way for him to get your attention, especially if you're doing really well, like I've been doing really well before,
Of
and during
course.
COVID, I was fine for about a year. I wrote a book, it became a hit. I was touring, I was like doing the anti-vax things and I was touring, speaking and then it just things started shattering. I was alone, I was crying, and I was so lonely. But in those moments, I I forgot to reach out to God. I remember I was reaching out to people. I was calling friends. I was trying to stay. Should I read this book more? Should I just do more? Should I sleep? Should I watch movies? And then nothing was working. And then finally, God brought me to where I was in the spot where I was literally alone. He brought me to Florida. I was staying with my family. And I was like, where do I go from here? Because nothing brings me joy. Nothing brings me, like, nothing has flavor. It's like you're eating. I was going through the motions, but nothing tasted good, right? It was real true spirit of depression. And it wasn't like I'm going to kill myself. It was more of
Mm,
like, nothing matters. It was just nothingness. And
mm,
I had never felt such a nothingness, especially because I had friends, I had things going on. And the world was under lockdown. It was bad. We were all going through it, but it made me reassess, what do I really want? And then I said, I really want to be remarried. I was divorced at the time.
mhm.
I want to have a family. I want to be a wife and a mom. And I had to cling to God. I said, well, God, you're the giver of that. I could go and find somebody, of course, and like I didn't have marriage proposals, like I didn't have,
List is long.
right? Yeah, exactly. I was like, I have the
Go and
list, I have
pick.
this, right? Totally. And I could date people, but I was like, nothing is nothing tastes good, nothing feels good, nothing
Yeah.
feels real. And then I realized God was calling me back to Him. Only
Mm.
Jesus is real. For me, I had to go back in and I go, oh my God, none of this matters. I gave it all back to God. I said, I don't need to be a celebrity. I don't need to do public speaking. And I had just done 2 feature films. One we did in Spain, another film we were doing. So I was working
I
on the
remember.
outside.
Yeah.
Everything looked, yeah, fine and dandy. I was
Hmm.
overseas. We were chatting,
Yeah, yeah.
but something was going on and there was this heart conversion. It was this. And so if you feel that, I also had to stop fighting. I had to put down like the punching. There's my punching bag. I had to put down the fighting this. I got to make it happen. Who do I got to? No, you don't have to do anything. Just relax. Obviously we still have to feed our bodies, take care of our families, whatever we have to do, but start spending time with yourself and with God and journaling. What do you really want? And I had to write down all the attributes I want, all the things I'd like. And then I gave everything back to God. I said, God, but I don't want anything you don't want for me. So you lead me. What do you want for me? Because He has a purpose for our lives. Everybody's got a purpose. And so when you tell God, it's so empowering. It's the opposite of what the world says. It's very empowering to be like, God, what do you want me to do today?
Yes.
And then He'll tell you. And then you better do it. You can't just sit down and
Yeah.
go, oh God, tell me what to do. He's like, I just told you. Okay, go do that.
Move.
And when you hear it and you see it and you can journal, you can just be like praying, read the Bible, all these things. It took me about a year and a half to sort of get back the faith. And the faith, the faith in my faith that I was raised to. And I am going to get baptized this weekend, and I am so excited because it's not that I didn't have God in my heart or I didn't believe in Jesus, but now I really truly trust Him. So that's why I said, like, if I was going to run for office, if I before I did the Grammys again this year, before I do anything, I said, God, what do you want? Is this really what you want me to
Mm,
do? And he gave it back to me. He gave it back to me. So you have to not be afraid to lose some of the things you thought were what you wanted. Because if you're not happy and joyful and waking up every day passionate, something's wrong. And that
mm,
depression could actually be a blessing if you
mhm.
just slow down. And of course, I didn't talk to a lot of people during this time, which was on purpose and needed to be. I needed to not have distractions in my life. So, yeah,
It's a
hopefully my
cleansing.
testimony helps other people because it could be your greatest weapon in finding who you truly are when you feel those sad moments. It doesn't have to be bad.
It's definitely very helpful, and I think everybody goes through this feeling, no? I
Mm-hmm.
think there is nothing worse than feeling purposeless at some point, but when you connect with the meaning of life, then and God, which is the meaning of life, because He gave us life, then everything goes back
Yeah.
on track. And I think many
Yeah.
people forget that, mostly young people in our generation, they forget that, and they are so
Yeah.
much absorbed by performance, delivering, appearing,
Mm,
something they're
mm,
not or something they don't want to. So it's so inspiring to see successful young woman like you are, just
mm.
talking about also not only the nice time, but also the ugly ones and how
Yeah.
resilience bring you back to more success. And as I see you, very radiant and better than ever. So it's very
Thank
beautiful.
you. Thank you. Thank you guys. Somebody asked me the other day, like, did you get any work done? And I was like, no,
It's
I'm not
God.
opposed to. It's literally God and being married. I mean, you guys know you get that
Yeah,
glow
love.
from.
Love
Yes,
looks
regular
pretty. Love looks
love looks good.
pretty.
Regular cardio sessions, you know what I'm saying?
That's really good. Absolutely.
Gives you a certain
So,
glow. Yeah.
absolutely. So, Joy, where can we find your work now? I know we can follow. Now, I want to follow your podcast more regularly and everything else you're
Yes.
doing. Project
Oh, thank
film
you.
wise, singing. Are you writing any song?
Yes.
Whatever.
Yes. So I'm going to go into the studio very soon to
Okay.
I'm always writing. I've written a few songs, so I have to record them. So new music, two films should be coming out this year. One,
Mm.
we got nominated for two awards at the International Christian Film Festival. So it's called
Wow.
Pastor Sue Saves Christmas. I play the villain trying to shut down the church. I'm like a Cruella de Vil type
Uh-huh.
character. They're evil.
I
That
want
was
to see
fun.
that. I want to see
Yes.
that.
Yes, and people can watch my first film, The Contrast, which is a romantic comedy on Amazon Prime. It's out on Amazon Prime
Oh,
now.
okay.
Yep,
That's we're gonna watch
yep,
it. You gave me an idea for
yeah.
tonight. Tonight I have a relaxed
Yes.
night, so I'm gonna watch your
Oh my
movie.
gosh, get a glass of wine, relax, PJs, just it's a great
Pasta.
film. Yeah,
Sounds like
pasta.
we have a plan.
You can take the girl
A
out of
little
Italy, but you
vino,
can't take the Italian out of the girl. You just cannot.
Exactly. Pasta and wine.
pasta and wine.
That's all I need to be happy.
Exactly, exactly. It's perfect. And then I started Joy Villa Fitness, which is my fitness company. So we launched last year and it's been amazing. So it's online nutrition, fitness, faith-based coaching, mindset coaching. So all of this positivity that I love to talk. I talk to my clients and I do group coaching calls with them and build out their plans. And I've got assistant coaches and it's so fun. We've got a lot of clients that have gone through and had great success. So, all your listeners, by the way, and your viewers can go to joyvillafitness.com and they will get my ebook for free from Stuck to Strong, where I talk about my journey and what I did to overcome it. Because it's not just physical, it's mental, emotional, but we also love to be fit and healthy too. So, the whole thing.
Look good, feel good.
Exactly,
That's right.
exactly.
I don't think you can be 200. I think it's unhealthy to be
Hmm.
out of shape and trying to feel good. So this idea that we have to, no, we have to, we all look good, but we should improve our health. Health is important and Kennedy is going to
Absolutely.
help it. Yes.
Absolutely. That's why I say the first thing, if you're feeling depressed and sad, do not reach for alcohol. I mean, there's nothing wrong with having wine, alcohol every so often, but if you know you're in like you are in a mood where you feel really depressed and sad, drugs, alcohol, going back to toxic situations are only going to drag you further because you're trying to avoid thinking of the pain. Instead, just think of the pain. Be like, God, what's going on? And find the answers. You will go to the gym, get some fresh air, get some sunshine, eat some healthy food, call your mom or dad, right? Family values. That's why I love conservatives. I'm like, if I look at who's toting family values, who's talking about health, we got RFK Jr. in the house now. I mean, it's conservatives. He was a
True.
Democrat.
True.
So
Exactly.
it's really good versus evil. That's all it is right now.
The Republican Party's changed. The entertainers have changed. The influencers have changed. It's the golden age of America, and I think with people like you and that are doing what you're doing and getting your message out, this really inspiring message, and showing that you can be a creative and a conservative and believe in God and be family oriented all at the same time. It's incredibly
Mm.
inspiring. And I know our viewers are really going to adore this message. So thank you, Joy, so much, Joy, for joining us. And we hope to have you back on the show soon.
Absolutely. I love you guys. You're awesome. We're in this together. It's great to have friends like you.
We love you too, and we'll see you soon somewhere, somehow.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Thank you again for such an inspiring conversation.
Pleasure.
Thank you.